Resurrect the Republic, Truth Radio broadcast on RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, Resurrect the Republic Truth Radio broadcast. Moments ago, I just conducted an interview with Ryan Bundy, who's running for Nevada governor. Hey, I'm on the line with Ryan Bundy. Ryan, it's good to have you with us.
It's good to be there, Tom.
So, very excited about your race for governor. I've been waiting. I've been trying to be patient. I know you've been so busy lately. There's so many things going on. But can you tell us how that race, how it's coming along?
Well, we're moving along. Like I said, we've got lots of support, and we're gaining more every day. I don't know, doing lots of interviews, lots of schedules, a few opportunities to speak. I'd like a few more of those, but there's a bunch of invitations coming up and a bunch of events that are going to happen in the next couple of months. A lot of county fairs and meet and greets and different opportunities like that I'll be attending.
Yeah, well, I hope to catch maybe a couple of those, maybe.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
it's been a little bit slow in the summer, which it's kind of always that way. You know, you get through the primaries, it's the 1st of June. You know, June, July, August, there's a little bit of a time to rest in one way, but people are vacationing and paying attention to their lives, and then in the fall things start kicking up again. So
yeah. Well, you know, you are, and everybody who knows you knows that you're conservative, but you place principles over party, and I think that is one of the most refreshing and necessary things, especially for a governor. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes you a little bit different than the in crowd?
Well, I can tell you up straight that I understand the proper form of government and the proper purpose for government, and it seems like none of the other candidates do. But very few men and women in political positions understand that, and that's in a sad reason why we're in such a terrible shape that we are. And
they're fighting to spread our democracy.
Yeah, our democracy, exactly. That's just a problem. Being that our founding fathers established a republic and guaranteed a Republican form of government in under Article 4 of the Constitution, and yet I hear all the time that we're a Republican or no such thing. So
yeah. Well, they spread it across the world. You know, I haven't heard too many governors actually quote from the Constitution in interviews or presentations. It's a refreshing thing to hear. And you know, I know that there's been a lot of harsh press when it comes to the left. I don't think these folks realize that what you're advocating for could greatly benefit their lives. And this is what so frustrates me with the mainstream media coverage. Do you think you could tell me a little bit as governor what you could do that would benefit the constituents of your state on maybe both sides?
Well, yeah, but, you know, I believe that adhering to correct form and purpose of government is beneficial to everybody. It's not a party beneficial one side or the other. It benefits all of us because it creates an environment of liberty where we can thrive if we, have the innovation or the entrepreneurial, attitude to go about and to provide for ourselves. It opens that up. Now, someone who wants to live under socialism and communism, well, it doesn't help them because, if they're not going to step up and get out and do something for themselves, well, nobody thrives under that, and unless you're a socialist trying to piggyback off of other people's work.
Right. Well, that's been my complaint with such of the control, central planning style control of the federal government in the western states. We've seen in town after town after town. For instance, Grant County in Oregon used to be one of the most prosperous counties in Oregon, and then all of these regulations and federal government management basically destroyed Grant County. Now they're one of the poorest, and this was one of the biggest complaints of the sheriff there, that he was just fit to be tied about, and I'd like to see that change. Is there any way that we can put a proper check and balance on the federal government on the state level?
Yes, of course you can, and that is what has not happened for many years. The checks and balances are not taking place. But yes, the state governments, if they would recognize their proper place, which is, a legitimate state that has entered on equal footing with the original 13 states, the state that can exercise and acknowledge its sovereignty, that it is not a subdivision of the federal government, but is rather an independent state. Now, we as states in the United States have joined a union, and we're grateful to be a part of that union. And that union is supposed to benefit us as states. But what we've become is just subdivisions of the federal government, and so the states can, if they will, check the federal government by asserting their sovereignty as a state, and along with that comes the claim and control of the land within its borders.
That would be a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell everybody, if you become governor, I'm moving to Nevada.
Well, I've heard that a lot actually lately. Maybe I'll need to move here first so that you can vote for me, and I will become governor. Make it a little easier. But
that's a good thing, man. All right. So, as your role of governor, what do you think that you can change in Nevada right now, or what do you think that you could work to change in Nevada right now that accomplishes some of these goals?
Well, kind of already said that to some degree, but immediately I will recognize that Nevada is a sovereign state. I'll start making steps to make that a reality rather than just a theology or a figment of our imagination at the point. But another one of my important points is the judicial system. The trials that are going on a federal level that are outside the jurisdiction of federal courts. I'll put a stop to that. Just so people understand, our federal government only has what power we've given it. That is made clear in the 10th Amendment. And so when we look at the judicial powers of the United States, we give the federal government judicial powers in Article 3 of the Constitution. In Article 3, Section 2, it lays out the several jurisdictions that we allow the federal courts to have. And there's 6 of them. There's only 6 jurisdictions that they have. And of those 6, all of them are civil jurisdictions. The federal government does not have jurisdiction over criminal matters. Criminal matters are a state jurisdiction issue. And so the federal courts exercising or prosecuting crime is unconstitutional, except in the case of impeachment. That's how the Constitution reads.
Right.
Otherwise, a man who is accused of a crime is to be tried in the state and in the district, which is a subdivision of the state, not District of Columbia. In other words, not in a federal district, but in a state district. One who is accused has the right to be tried in the state and the district, in which the alleged crime had taken place. And he is to be tried by a jury of the state. Now, the word "of" means deriving from or belonging to. And so that jury must be a state jury, not a federal jury, not a jury called up by a federal court. And so both the Article 3 and the Sixth Amendment make it clear that all crimes are to be tried on a state level. And yet we have so many that are being tried on a federal level.
They're misusing. I think Chris Ann Hall talks about this too. It seems to me they're way misusing the original intent of the Commerce Clause to accomplish a large part of that nonsense. But that's just one aspect. You know, another aspect that kind of concerns me. Okay, sorry about that. We got cut off. But,
all right. Well, yeah, I'm traveling. As I told you, I'd be stuck in transport.
That's okay. We'll take you. We'll take you any way we can get you, brothers. As busy as you've been, I'm glad that I can catch you on the way to somewhere.
All right. Yeah, that's sometimes the best for me to talk is in transit. Okay. So where were we?
Oh yeah, the interruption. The boundaries of the federal government and the state government and jurisdiction and prosecuting crimes. You know, one of the things I was about to ask you was I've heard that now they're challenging again the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals this decision to which was, you know, they dropped this case and with prejudice too. There's willful withholding of evidence. This is your case, but this is happening in so many other cases that it's relevant, like across the board. Willful withholding of evidence, destruction of evidence, crimes that are being committed by these federal prosecutors. And I kind of have a question. If a federal prosecutor breaks a law and it lies in a court. Now, I know that they're claiming federal jurisdiction in the matter, right? But is there any way for a governor or for his appointees to take some sort of action against that crime?
Well, I'll have to look into that, but there certainly should be. I mean, if there's a crime been committed, then there's a crime been committed. If he's in the state of Nevada, then turn and prosecute him for the crimes he's committed. Yeah, I know that they're claiming jurisdiction in Nevada, but they never have established jurisdiction. See, now that's the other thing about jurisdiction. In a court case, any court case, whether it be civil or criminal, as soon as jurisdiction is challenged, then that challenge must be answered and satisfied to establish jurisdiction. And until such has taken place, the case is supposed to come to a complete standstill. Nothing's supposed to happen, because if they don't have jurisdiction to administer the case, then they have no authority to do anything other than to dismiss the case.
Right.
And so I challenged jurisdiction, and never have they answered it. It wasn't just one challenge. I actually made 3 different types of jurisdictional challenges, and they simply went unanswered. The judge just dismissed, or she struck them from the record as moot. In other words, she refused to answer them. And so the federal court simply does not have jurisdiction here, and because they could not answer that question favorably in their to their needs, to their desires, they simply went about to ignore them. But still, they do not have lawful jurisdiction in the matter. And the problem is that nobody is holding them accountable for operating under the presumption and assumption that they do. And so again, that's why we need a strong state government to make that check and that balance. And so there is a way to go about that, and the governor has the authority to make that happen. And so again, that's why I am running for governor in part.
You know, I've had conversations with people of both right and left persuasions in Nevada since you started running for governor, and you're starting to resonate with more people than I think that you're even aware of. There are people, and like you said, that this is principle over party. There are people on both sides of the political spectrum that are just absolutely fed up with certain aspects of this federal government, like this land management. It is still the perpetuated lies going on, about all of these ranchers, not just your dad, but many of these ranchers. 50 of them were in that county that your dad's in, and it just, to me, people are starting to see when there were 50 ranchers and you got one left. That's an agenda. That's not just government regulation. That's government using economic terrorism against the people. Now, my argument with that is when you catch, and we have caught employees plotting and planning to do this, like no cattle free in '93, no more moo in '92. These are agendas. This essentially becomes, at that point, ideologically driven, but it becomes a corrupt criminal organization. And when 2 or 3 or more people conspire to cheat somebody out of their land, whoever makes the profit, whether it's the government or whether it's a private corporation or whether it's an individual, it's still a criminal conspiracy, is it not?
Yes, certainly it is. You know, they want to charge us with criminal conspiracy, but to impede a federal officer from conducting his work, but yet they've been involved in a conspiracy for years to eliminate the ranchers and the producers off the land. And so, anyway, our conspiracy was obviously proven untrue, and yet theirs continues on unprosecuted because, hey, they're all in the game together. So.
Oh, they got to be shaken a little bit for your run. I hope they're a little bit nervous. Finally have maybe some law and order in the state of Nevada for real. That would be nice.
Yes, nice. Well, that's what will take place. So.
Yes, sir. Well, we talked a little bit before about this case with this FBI agent involved in the trial that's going on right now with United States versus Pastor Rita, which I think is important, although I don't think that he's being charged with the appropriate amount or severity of crimes. I hate to make one or two guys the scapegoat because there are certainly people at a higher level that were pulling some strings there, but you were there and of course, in the truck and took one in the shoulder. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know about that case for our audience?
Well, the case, they are charging Joseph Astorita with, lying more or less to the superiors about shots that he fired. He claimed that he didn't shoot any shots, and yet there's shell casings that are missing, ammunition that's missing that wasn't accounted for. And I don't know exactly how they come to the point that he is the culprit when there were numerous shooters. But anyway, it's a case about dishonesty. They wanted me to be involved. They wanted the bullet out of my shoulder to try to prove his dishonesty. Which, to me, is just a scapegoat program.
We'll be right back, folks, with Ryan Bundy on Resurrect the Republic, RTR Truth Media, Reloaded. Welcome back, Resurrect the Republic, Truth Radio broadcasts, RTR Truth Media, Reloaded. We have on tonight an interview that was ended just moments before the show started. We didn't even have a chance to edit it, with Ryan Bundy, who's running for Nevada governor. And I can tell you, I swear, if he becomes governor, I'm moving to Nevada and I'm staying there. Anyway. We have a little bit of news for you before we get back to the interview. Okay, I'm getting a message in right now. I believe Jeanette Finicum is going live right now. If that completes before the end, we'll give you an update. We do have a new channel, a new video channel at vid.me, or I'm sorry, at real.video. Real.video. It's Mike Adams Network. We just established a channel on. We have a couple videos up. We're going to be pretty much using it to take excerpts from the show, highlights and things like that, as well as news stories. And we're pretty much finished with YouTube. Facebook, as we went live, as we were sharing out the promo for Brian Bundy, they put me in a timeout. I'm really starting to get done with this social media thing. It's really rather disturbing. But anyway, so you can also go to rtrtruthmedia.blogspot.com. We're going to have all of Ryan's links there after the show. So anyway, let's get back to Ryan Bundy running for Nevada governor.
Right. You know, I haven't cooperated with them by giving them the bullets for several reasons. But the main reason being is that, you know, you were charging him with attempted murder on me and the murder of LaVoy. Then we're talking about a legitimate charge because that's what took place. You know, even in my case, even in my situation alone, you know, first of all, LaVoy, I know LaVoy was the best man.
Hang on, you're breaking up. You still with me?
I might lose you again. So
okay, sorry, you're back.
Again.
You're back.
Okay, because I'm right down in the canyon right now, so it might be rough.
It's okay.
Okay, so as long as we're good. Okay, with LaVoy, I mean, I know LaVoy was a very good man, and I know that he is the best man that America could produce. I just know that you just can't get much better than what LaVoy is. And yet they killed him, and they tried to justify it with saying, "Oh, well, he had a gun." Well, he darn well should have had a gun. He darn well should have been defending himself under such an attack as what they were doing. I don't believe that that's what he was doing. He had his hands in the air, and he was, you know, he was stuck in the snow. It's not like he could hardly even walk. He was, you know, snow up to his waist. You know, he couldn't hardly even move. I mean, what kind of attack can he make? And yet they shoot him in the back like cowards.
Yep.
And, you know, under those situations, after ambushing us, making an aggressive move against us when we had done no wrong, and we were en route to speak at a public meeting that was put together by the sheriff of the neighboring county. You know, I mean, you know, what kind of crime were we committing, for heaven's sake? We weren't. And yet they killed him. Now, besides that point, okay, so let's say they justify LaVoy's death, you know, because, you know, he was reaching for a gun that he had the right to keep and bear arms to have. But what justification did they have for putting, you know, multiple rounds into the vehicle that were triangulated to kill me in the spot that I had been sitting? And the only reason they didn't get me was because I had moved, and I still took one in the shoulder. And yet I know of at least 5 rounds that came into that truck that were targeted to my sitting position. Okay, so what justification did they have for that?
None. None.
Did they have for that? None.
Everybody who's seen the video, the only argument that I've heard made, and this is not one that I cater to, but because he came close to the one, we saw that cop when he hit the snow jump out in front of LaVoy's truck. He wasn't standing there and LaVoy barreled towards him. As a matter of fact, if LaVoy hadn't have swerved the way he did, he probably saved that cop's life. The idiot jumped out in front of his truck.
That's exactly what happened. Had that guy not jumped in front of him, LaVoy was planning on skirting around the edge of that truck and getting back on the pavement.
Yeah.
But because that man jumped in front of him, LaVoy turned into the snowbank to avoid hitting him. He saved that life. He saved that man's life, and it cost him his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
He saved that man's life, and it cost him his own. If we were strictly just trying to get away, LaVoy should have run him over and kept going.
Yeah.
Okay? But that's not what LaVoy did. That shows the goodness of LaVoy.
Yes.
That shows that he's a man who would not hurt another. I know that's what LaVoy was trying to do, was to get around that vehicle. And I heard it said through this trial that the men there at the roadblock and behind, and the ambush, have stated that we must kill LaVoy before he gets to Grant County.
Folks, we'll be right back. Resurrect the Republic, Truth Radio broadcast with Ryan Bundy. Welcome back. Welcome back. Resurrect the Republic, Truth Radio broadcast with Ryan Bundy.
Well, LaVoy was trying to get to Grant County because he would have had the protection of the sheriff there.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, I didn't know it at the time, and we didn't know it at the time, but I've heard since that the Grant County line was only another mile or so ahead of that roadblock.
Wow.
Another mile or so, and we would have been in Grant County. And then the other sheriffs and stuff that were working in conspiracy with the FBI and the OSB would have been out of their jurisdiction. And obviously they didn't clue, the Grant County Sheriff in on what was going on. Otherwise, he probably would have been there to protect us.
Yeah.
But as it was, they left him out of the loop because he wouldn't play their games.
Yeah.
He's the only honorable sheriff in the area up there. So.
Yeah, I really do have a lot of respect for him. Palmer's a good man. He is a good man. We need more sheriffs like that. But the office of the sheriff is very important, and we've seen these coordinations, these joint task forces. A lot of researchers that I work with, we all call it what it is. It's martial law. It's not, when you have no separation of powers from federal law enforcement to state law enforcement to county law enforcement, and everybody's working in conjunction with each other, who's going to act as a real check and balance? I do commend, I believe it's the Deschutes County Sheriffs, for exposing this lie by Astorita. I do commend them for that.
I can't give them too much credit because they're the ones that justified LaVoy shooting as LaVoy shooting as justified shooting.
Very good point. Very good point. I don't give them too much credit, but people really need to understand that proper role of interposer. People don't even know what these terms mean. Interposer, checks and balances. I try and talk to people about checks and balances, and you have to be a law-abiding citizen. And if you run from the cops, that means you're not a law-abiding. People are so brainwashed by authoritarianism that they're not remembering what was fought and bled and died for and handed to them.
Well, the problem is they've been taught from infants nearly to submit to authority figures. From kindergarten all the way through school, they're always being, stand in line, do what you're told, obey, obey, obey. And if you don't, then you're insubordinate and you're sent to the principal's office. And there's no individuality. There's no freedom. It's all that's being taught is to submit to authority and to obey others' commands.
Yeah.
And if you do
don't
that,
question
if you do what you're, and don't question it, and do it. If you do what you're told, then you're good. And if you have any type of individual liberty, then you're subject to punishment. And that's what's being perpetrated in the American society continually. Yeah. And that's contrary to, the precepts of liberty.
Yeah. You know, I'd also like to make mention while we're here, you know, an amazing woman in Jeanette Finicum. This woman who lost her husband, and now she is from Red Pill Expo to Bozeman to all over these events, that she has become an absolute firecracker for freedom. And I just, it's just amazing to me. We've been doing all we can to help her keep her message out there. And you know, there have been a lot of folks out there. We've always discussed this republic versus democracy. We hear the mainstream media constantly puppeting, and I hate to use the term mind control. I'm not going all conspiracy theory. What I mean by mind control is you repeat the same lie over and over and over and over and over again. It starts to set in to the mindset of the people. And I think one of the most important aspects that we can do, one of the, you know, the folks out there at home, is combat this with truth. Who do you look to? What can we do, and who do you look to for good constitutional education?
You know, when it comes to that subject there, go online and find Stephen Pratt. Stephen Pratt taught great seminars, and they're all recorded. You can find them on YouTube. And he goes over that democracy versus republic very well. The other one is there's a video, and it's by John F. McManus. And
oh yes, McManus.
Yes, and he does a program called An Overview of Our World. Now, there's several versions of it because he's given the seminar several times and it's been recorded. The one I have is on VHS, a little bit older, and it's like 3 hours long, and it's awesome, absolutely awesome. But he goes through the process of the different forms of government. You know, there's, of course, anarchy, then a republic, and then a democracy, and then an oligarchy, and then a monarchy. And so those are the
I just saw that last week.
Did you?
Yeah, awesome stuff.
And so he goes into detail and explains the different types of governments in the world. And, you know, our founding fathers did not set up a democracy. They set up a republic. And in the Constitution, under Article 4, we are guaranteed a republic form of government. But most people don't even understand the difference between a republic and a democracy. And so they melt the term, saying, "Oh, well, it's a democratic republic," or and stuff. Well, no, that doesn't work. You know, it's either a republic or it's a democracy. Now, that doesn't mean in a republic we don't use the process of voting to elect our representatives.
Right, we're democratically elected constitutional republic.
Well, you know, and I don't even know if you want to use, the word Democrat there. You know, again, just because we use, a process of voting doesn't make us a democracy.
That's right.
But a republic, again, that John F. McManus does the very best. He just explains it so well. So I encourage everyone who's listening to this program to go find that. And I have not been able to find.
We're going to be running it right after. I'm going to be seeding it into this show.
Okay. And again, I don't know which version or which, the one you have. The one I have on VHS is the very best one I've seen. The others aren't done as well, and I certainly hope to have them. I haven't been able to find the version I have on VHS anywhere online.
Right.
But either way, I hope that you find it.
My favorite part of his presentation was explaining the difference between a democracy and a republic when describing a mob setting upon somebody who committed a crime. The mob says, 9 out of 10, and the mob say, let's hang him, so he hangs, and that's a democracy. Republic is when the sheriff shows up and says, no, he's coming with me, and he's going to go be tried and have a jury and have due process. And if he's determined guilty, they'll make their mind up what to do with him. That's the difference. that the fundamental difference is the rule of law as opposed to mob rule.
That's correct. And that's the main difference between a republic. A republic is founded upon and established upon a solid set of principles. Now, granted, a republic could be set on, incorrect principles. Mm-hmm. But, of course, in our republic, the principles are established in our Constitution. So our Constitution is that rock upon which our republic is founded. Right. And, of course, that's based upon Judeo-Christian values, the Ten Commandments, and principles, the Magna Carta, and other previously established sound doctrine that predates, predecesses our Constitution. But our Constitution espouses all of those principles. Sure. And it's supposed to be a rock. That's why it's not easily amended. I mean, yeah, there is a process to amend it, but it's not an easy process. And that's right. Now, a democracy, especially a pure democracy, is fluid. There's no solid ground. It's basically mob rule. There's 51% want it, therefore it is, and at the detriment to the 49. And that's just not. As I've heard it described, that democracy is an ever-turbulent contention, and in a democracy, it never lasts, because as soon as 51% of the people can decide they can vote themselves the largesse of the treasury, so to speak, then all of a sudden, that's what happens, and the country collapses.
Well, this is history repeating itself. It's how the Roman Republic fell. It's how Greece fell. It's when the politicians start giving away everything, everybody else's stuff and stuff that they don't have to get into office. The fabric of society collapses. The rule of law collapses, and you just try and pander to the majority. And it's been in the history of the world. It's brought down every great civilization.
Yes. It has. Hey, Thomas, I'm going to have to draw this to a conclusion.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and we thank you for being with us at Resurrect the Republic here. God bless you, brother. I'm praying for you, and God, I'd love to see you as governor. And do me a favor and tell your wife, God bless her, too. She's been great. Love her post.
Yeah, I'll do that. I appreciate that. Now, before I go, though, and on the note of my candidacy,
sure.
It is get to the time where I'm apt to purchase signs, and billboards, and advertisements. Mm-hmm. And I need some funding to do that, and I need some donations. I'm not like President Trump. I don't have the funds to do all that on my own. I just don't. It'd be nice if I did, but I don't.
Right.
And so I'd like to ask your listeners if they will send me some money to fund my campaign, so that I can get there and be in this position of ability to make these changes we need. So if someone's willing to donate, I ask that they please do so by sending me a direct mail and I'll give you my address, which is 361 Riverside Road in Mesquite, Nevada. That's 361 Riverside Road, Mesquite, Nevada, and send, check, money order, or whatever you possibly can. And, hey, I could use some, the largest donation an individual is allowed to make in Nevada is $5,000. I should certainly use a few $5,000 checks, or any denomination less than that would be also appreciated.
No, absolutely. Is there some form of electronic way that they can get to you, a link or?
Yes, there is. They could go to my website, which is RyanBundyGovernor.com, and there is a donate page there. The monies donated that direction are subject to some, fees and percentages, that diminish the value thereof. But hey, that's part of the process. So if they send it to me by mail, I can utilize 100% of it. Yes.
Right. Okay, so your preferred method, your preferred method would be your address at 361 Riverside Drive, Mesquite, Nevada, or
Riverside Road. Yes.
Right. If Riverside Road, yes. And if people can't do it that way, RyanBundyGovernor.com. Okay.
Yes.
And folks, we'll put these links on rtrtruthmedia.blogspot.com as well. We'll have a little Ryan Bundy for Governor section up there with all of Ryan's links and the address. I urge all of my listeners to do so. It doesn't matter what state. Here's another thing. It doesn't matter what state you're in. If we can get, if we can, this would be a win for Nevada. I believe it would be a win for all of us because it's a start. It's really a start.
The donations do have to come from one of the states of the union. It can't come from a state not belonging to the union. So
right.
That's the only restriction.
Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll do all we can to help you, and certainly we'll pray for you. Do you mind if you can close us out in a prayer?
I can do that, yes. So if you're ready, I will begin.
I am.
Father in heaven, we come before thee and give thee thanks for this day and for all that thou hast given us. And we are thankful for all the goodness that we have. We ask thee that thou would be with us to help us choose right from wrong, help us to know right from wrong, help us to have the courage and the strength to choose the right regardless of what consequences might follow. Father in heaven, we ask thee that thou would bless and preserve our freedom, that thou would place those in office that will do so, that will recognize our rights and protect them. Father in heaven, we love thee. We thank you for thy gospel. We're thankful for the prophets and apostles that have led us and guided us. And we thank thee for all that thou hast given us. And this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. We're with you.
Okay, thanks, Tom.
All right, you have a great night.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Bundy. Just in a few moments, Mike, let me know when we can do that with the update. I think we'll be covering it on the next segment. We'll have an update on USV Astarita with Jeanette Finicum and the Center for Self-Governance. We'll be right back. Resurrect the Republic Truth Radio broadcast.
My name's Ryan Bundy. I'm the son of Clive and Bundy. I assume you know who we are. And I'm very fond of your father, Rand. So glad you're here. I see here when you talk about civil liberties, I pulled up some information on you, and it says that the usurpation of power by our current federal government would make our founding fathers roll over in their graves, and I believe you're right. The issues that Standoff and so forth that took place here a year ago, which brought to light some important things. One major thing is that there is simply no place in the United States Constitution that allows the federal government to own land, period. What are you going to do as president to correct that problem?
I'd either sell or turn over all the land management to the states. I don't think the federal government needs to be involved. The biggest revenue raisers for the Treasury back in like the 1830s, 1840s was selling Western land. That's how a lot of our ancestors got here, is through land sales. And it was pretty cheap to buy land from the federal government. But you run into problems now with the federal government being, this bully and this big, huge government bully. You would have less of that if you had more local control of the land. State ownership would be better, but even better would be private ownership. And so I think we should do everything possible. Like all the stuff that you had to deal with the grouse or the prairie chicken or the bigger chicken, the lesser chicken, and all that stuff. You wouldn't have that problem if you were dealing with it locally, because what you would decide is, well, yeah, we want to preserve nature, but we also want to preserve jobs and the economy, and there would be a balance. And sometimes I'll say flippantly, if you sold the chicken to somebody, there'd be plenty of them. And there's certain truth to that. When things are owned, there's lots of cows. No, the cows are not endangered. Neither are chickens, really. sagebrush, grouse would be probably less likely to be endangered if somebody owned it and allowed it to reproduce. So there are ways of handling it, but we've actually taken the Endangered Species Act and we say that should be done in also. And then it would be your community. You decide what to do. And there still would be arguments back and forth over exactly what we do on how we protect species. But we just went crazy on all this stuff. In Kentucky, we have the pocketbook mussel. And so it was a little tiny town. And when it rained, their sewage plant was small enough that the raw sewage would go into the lake. Well, nobody wanted that. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. Nobody wants sewage in the lake. So they said, we're going to build a bigger sewage plant. The federal government came and said, oh, no, you don't. We need to find out whether the bigger sewage plant, how it will affect the pocketbook mussel that grows in the lake. And it's like, we're trying to prevent stuff from going in the lake. But they ended up spending $100,000, this tiny little town that had no money, on a consultant to count the sagebrush, not the sagebrush, the pocketbook mussel. Then they found an arrowhead, and then they had to do an archaeological dig. So the government's gone way too far. I'll tell you one other story about what the government's done and how the government can really be a bully. Robert Lucas was a landowner in the southern part of Mississippi. He was developing lots, and he decided to put dirt on his lots to improve the elevation of the lots. The government came and said, oh no, it's a wetland. And he said, well, there's no water. There's 300 different ways that the government can tell you have a wetland. 300 different plants that they can look for. They can take a soil sample and measure the percentage of water in the soil. They don't have to see water for it to be a wetland. They also can turn leaves over. If the leaves are black on the bottom, you might have a wetland. So here's the problem. The government took something reasonable, and I'm not against all government regulations. There was a Clean Water Act in the 70s that says you can't discharge pollutants into a navigable stream. Well, I don't want people dumping benzene into Lake Tahoe or the Mississippi River. Most of us don't want that. But the thing is, over time, they define dirt as a pollutant and your backyard as a navigable stream. So government just grew so large and became such a bully on this. But anyway, Robert Lucas did this. They put him in jail for 10 years for putting dirt on his own land. They convicted him on the RICO Act, which is supposed to be used for like gangsters and drug dealers. His daughter was 43, had never ever committed any crime, a speeding ticket, had a 2-year-old daughter at home. She got 84 months in jail. They let her out after 26 months, over 2 years in prison for just trying to sell lots and be an entrepreneur in our country. So we have gone way too far, and it is time that we stand up in a legal fashion, but we stand up and let's say enough's enough. Let's elect people who will get the government off our back.
Today in the courtroom, and I've already flown to Phoenix for the Snowflake event that's tomorrow. We're going to premiere show LaVoy Dead Man Talking episode 1 in Snowflake. So I'm pretty excited about that. I get to see Senator Sylvia Allen and Cope Reynolds and all of my friends there in Snowflake, and I'm really looking forward to that. But the update on the court proceedings today, very interesting day, very interesting day. We had Victoria, who was a medical examiner, very professional, very right, spot on. You could tell she was just giving you the facts. I really appreciated that. We had other officers testify. It was very interesting. Some of the things that came out from the testimony of these particular officers that were Deschutes County investigators and detectives that were tasked with doing the investigation for the crime scene there. One of the roadblock vehicles that the two officers were in, I believe it was the OSP officers that had one of these vehicles, they left the scene without marking the truck. Amazing. Who does that? Who messes with a crime scene to that degree? You know, they had to kind of estimate where to put those truck lines next. The crime scene tape didn't go up for hours. They did not secure that site for hours. it was 9 hours. Mark's reminding me, 9 hours before they secured that scene. So much tampered with. Oh my goodness. We watched video after video of these officers walking around. The plane above is using their infrared camera and filming them, searching the ground with their flashlight on the end of their gun, looking for shell casings, looking for, they said, spoons and pins and flash bombs, because they wanted to pick up sensitive material items, because they didn't want anybody to get hurt, was their testimony. However, when you put the expert on, who is the trainer for these men in the HRT unit, they testify over and over again about how you do not pick up anything from a crime scene. You just don't do that. You're compromising the integrity of the scene. Over and over again, we heard testimony of how many different ways they compromised this crime scene. 9 hours before it was taped off. Vehicles moved. Men out there searching for material and picking things up, and you can clearly see that. Oh my gosh, you guys. And they want me to believe that they didn't plant that gun on my husband? Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Anyways, there was also testimony by the examiner that when she arrived there, there was a well-worn, hard-packed snow path from my husband's body to the passenger door of that truck, of his truck. That's key, because I think that that gun could have been on the dash between the blanket. That's my thinking. And because he carried it there often.
2 magazines.
And I think that they could have easily put it in his pocket. With the 9 hours they had to mess around with that crime scene, which they were doing. They were breaking protocol by walking around in that scene over and over and over again. Yes, what an interesting day. Very interesting day. I am grateful for the friends that continue to follow this story and that continue to support me in every single way that you are. Thank you so much. If you're interested in helping me with the legal battle that we are having, please go to onecowboystandforfreedom.com, and I have a legal fund button there. You're welcome to contribute there, or if you want to send me a message, I can get it through there. We also have a newsletter that you can sign up for, so that if I'm not doing these updates, you can get a written newsletter of my updates. But again, thank you for your support. God bless you all. Talk to you Monday.